What's up, guys? So we have a different angle today and a different sound. My wireless microphones are not currently charged, so I'm having to use old reliable here. We are back in the game room today. I've been wanting to start talking a little bit more about just games in general, and I thought, this is a good spot to do it. You can't see behind the camera there, but behind the camera, I have my games all stacked against a wall while I'm gonna be building some bookcases for my for the space here. And since I want to talk more about games, I thought it would be only appropriate to start with specific things on the system of my preference, one of my favorites that's come out, the Nintendo 64. The N64 really catered a lot to like multiplayer experiences because it was the first console that had the 4 controller ports on it. And so today I want to discuss not just multiplayer games, but specifically multiplayer racing games. And I want to share with you guys 3 N64 racing games that I really enjoy that you don't really hear quite talked about as much as some other things like your Mario Karts and your Diddy Kong racings. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about Cruisin' USA. You all know I love that game. I've sang its praises enough. So this is 3 N64 racing games that are not Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, or Cruisin' USA. All 3 of them take the idea of a racing game and put their own little spin on it. The first one that I want to talk about is a bit more what you would, I guess you could call it more of like the average kind of racing game. Like, you get in the car, you go zoom, and you try and come in first place. And that game is Beetle Adventure Racing. Now, I haven't spent as much time with this game as I would like to, but every time I've put it in to race a few laps, I've always really, really enjoyed it. The cars handle very, very well, and the means to take your sharp turns and your drift and your sort of drifting all feel very good once you get the hang of it. The thing that really stands out to me about Beetle Adventure Racing is actually how long the courses are. You're looking at a single race taking upwards of 6 minutes to complete 3 laps, and that just feels, coming from something like Mario Kart, and April and I like to play Crash Bandicoot Racing a lot. Coming from games like those, where the laps tend to be very short, a game like this where you're spending 2 minutes, sometimes a little bit more, on a single lap, it feels a bit more of an endurance-y thing. It gives you a lot more time to catch up and actually maintain that first place position. Like I said, the cars all feel like they handle very well. They're very enjoyable to control. It feels like something that would be a very good choice for a racing game night if you and your buddies want to get together and play some N64. This one should very much be in the rotation of choices. The next game that I want to share a little bit about is one that I actually grew up playing. This one takes racing and puts it on water. And this game is Wave Race 64. Wave Race is not exactly the kind of game that you would think would be good, especially since it's technically a brand game partnered with Kawasaki. But a jet ski game that feels difficult to master, but it's very satisfying when you get a hang of the controls. This game also has like some of the best looking water that I saw in video games for a very long time. Like, just look at this. I don't know a lot about game programming, but I know water is incredibly difficult to get right, and they did a really good job in how they designed this game. Now, I mentioned earlier that these games take their own little spin on racing games, and while Wave Race, is your standard get to first place and win kind of game, it's more of a slalom kind of racing, whereas you have these buoys out in the middle of the water, which you have to veer left and right around depending on which color it is, and you tour the tracks that way. It's a different spin on just the normal style of racing game, and it's something that I really appreciated growing up because this was one that I actually did play a lot as a kid. This is actually my childhood cart here, and I had a lot of fun playing this game with my dad and my sister when I was growing up. And the last game that I want to talk about today is one that I really had a lot of fun with growing up. Me and my sister played the crap out of this game, and that game is Snowboard Kids. It's quite interesting that this is one of the ones that really stuck with me and my sister because we grew up in North Georgia. We barely ever saw snow, so it's very funny to me that a snow-based game is one of the more important racing games to my childhood. Now, the way this game spiced up the racing formula, it was more of a kart style racing game where you get like items and things that you can use to better your position in the race. The interesting thing that this game did is that you actually had to collect money along the track. The boxes that you would hit to get the items, they cost money in the game. So if you did not collect enough coins on the track whenever you hit the item box, it was a hard thing that you would bounce off of and actually get a bit of a penalty. Your character would have to pick themselves back up and get back going. You did have to manage your finances, if you will, in the game to make sure that you were able to afford the item before you tried to run into the box. And not only that, but one of the things that always stood out to me about this game was just the music. I've actually used music tracks from this game in a lot of my videos, I think ever since I started the channel, if not just only a few months in. The music in Snowboard Kids is just something that has always stuck with me, and it's something that I enjoy going back to listen to every once in a while. But I do hope that one day the Snowboard Kids soundtrack winds up on the Nintendo Music app. I've been getting some use out of that app, and I look forward to them expanding the libraries a little bit, especially to bring in more N64 and Game Boy Advance stuff. But yeah, that's 3 N64 racing games that I don't hear people talk about enough. Whenever people do talk about them, they do seem to enjoy them, but whenever the conversation of N64 racing games comes up, it's always Mario Kart this and Diddy Kong Racing that. It's never Beetle Adventure Racing, it's never Wave Race, it's never Snowboard Kids. 3 games that are definitely worth your time if you have the energy to find them and play them. I know Snowboard Kids is getting a little more expensive to get your hands on. It's that Atlas tax, but something like Beetle Adventure Racing or Wave Race are both very affordable. And there's always the E-word option if you are so inclined to go that route. Regardless of how you want to play them, all 3 of them are well worth your time to check out. But that's what I think. What about you guys? What's your favorite racing game on the N64? And if it is Mario Kart or Diddy Kong, go ahead and say that, because I'd like to hear that too. But I think that's going to be it for me. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you like what I do here, make sure to hit subscribe, because it helps me out a lot. But I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to bringing you even more game talk videos just like this one as the weeks go on. I'm trying to move into this 2 video a week schedule, so I expect more of this style of video, especially in the midweek stuff. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.